Hello, I want to give you a tour of what I brought on my Niagara Falls trip. So I was bike packing for the first 2 days where I had to carry all of my stuff with me. For day 3 and 4, my friend Rob met me for sagging, so I was able to put my stuff in the car and go very light. But really what I brought for the first 2 days is what I would have brought for all 4 days if I didn't have the sag support or for a 10-day trip. Plastic bags are always great to have. I always travel with extra plastic bags. I carried an emergency thermal blanket for just in case. Even though it's summer, things can happen. For safety, I had a front blinky light and I had 2 rear blinky lights, one on my bike, one on my helmet. I'm really glad I had all 3. I think that did make a difference. And then I carried written directions for the food and water stops. Just because if my phone dies or something happens, I have this written down. I had flip-flops. Luckily, my feet are small, so these packed up really small in my bag. I had 1 change of clothes and in a Ziploc bag. Everything I put in Ziplocs to double waterproof, even though the pack bag that I put on the rear of my bike is waterproof. You just never know. And this is also, you can treat it like a compression sack. You suck out all the air and then it gets really small. Okay, small bag of toiletries, my glasses, sunscreen, spare batteries for my heart rate monitor and my pedals, my power pedals. This is a laundry brush, so I would wash my kit every night in the sink, just using the hotel soap. And then I always travel with an extra power bank. I know this is heavy and it's big, but I rely so much on my phone and on my head unit that if I needed power for whatever reason, like I've gone to a hotel before and the power's been out and this saved me. So I always have this. Now you're probably wondering, why do I have an extra head unit? This is not the head unit I used. I used a Garmin. This is a spare one. I carried that with me because I was relying primarily on my Garmin head unit for navigation. If that conked out, I would have my phone, but you just never know, online maps, offline maps, would it show, would the route show on my phone? So this was another way to have the route showing if something happened to my Garmin. I had a front headlight. Again, this was not what I needed. I wasn't planning on riding in the dark, but for safety reasons, you just never know. In case I needed to ride in the dark, I had it. I brought 2 charge cords. This is actually, one's for the iPhone, one is for all the other electronics. I would have brought, this is the one thing I would have changed in my packing. I should have brought 2 cords because I had all my lights to charge. I had my Garmin. I had a lot of things to charge, and 1 cord was not quite enough at night. Again, put those in the plastic bag. And then my only warm layer was this rain jacket. Never used it, but I'm glad I had it. And then everything did fit in this bag that went on the back here. And then I also had a front bag that's pretty large. Now, this was pretty empty when I left, and that was on purpose because I wanted to carry a lot of water with me. The first day I was riding, it was so hot and humid that I was going through more than a bottle an hour, and my stops were not that frequent. So I was able to carry 2 bottles on my bike, a full big Gatorade bottle in here, plus food, and then a bottle in my back pocket so I could go and ride for about 3 hours without having to stop. And in the saddlebag, I of course have tools. I have 2 tubes. These are tubeless, so I also have plugs. And then I brought this mini pump, and I also had a mini hand pump. The reason I have both of these is because I have heard stories of this failing, and I've also heard stories of that failing. So having 2 just makes it more likely that you will have a way to pump up your tires if you need it.